Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Emily. I am so excited about today's video because we are slowly making it into the warmer seasons in Australia, and so I thought that I'd talk about the books that I want to read in spring and summer this year. I am posting this a little early, but as of the 1st of September, it does turn to spring in Australia, and so I feel like it is a good time to start getting into reading these sorts of books. And there is a lot of these books that I do want to get through this year, so I feel like I need to start a little earlier and get myself in the mood a little bit more. So without rambling on too much, let's get straight into the books. Hopefully you guys get some recommendations from this as well, even though these are on my TBR too. I personally just love watching these types of videos. I love just getting in the mood for summer, so hopefully you guys do too. So let's get into it. Starting off with a series that I actually really want to reread this summer. I would love to reread The Summer I Turned Pretty series by Jenny Han. Obviously, as we all know, season 3 is currently releasing week by week this year, and it is just probably the best season so far. I am loving it. But I read these books quite a long time ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago now, when I first got back into reading, and I just really want to go back into this world. I think it is the perfect summer romance, and I still think the books are way better than the show. There is quite a few things that are different in the books from the show, so if you've watched the show, definitely read these if you haven't, because I definitely think they're still worth it. Obviously they are very YA. Bally's character is someone that is quite immature. You see that through the show as well. There is just something about this world and Cousins Beach that is just so heartwarming to read. I don't know what it is exactly, but it's just very nostalgic feeling, and I just know that I'm going to get through these very quickly when I reread them. They are all very short as well. I believe they're all like under 300 pages each, and as I said, they are YA, so that makes them even quicker. But I just wanted to give an honorable mention to these because I know that I'll be rereading these in summer at some point, because I just need to be back in Cousins Beach. I know I'm going to be having withdrawals once the show ends. The next book I have is actually a little fantasy book that's been on my TBR for a while, but there is just something about this book that gives me the vibe that you can read it during the cozier, colder seasons or the warmer seasons, and that is The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. All I really know about this book is that I think we are on like an island run by this man, and there is like a lot of orphans on this island with magic, or they're like known to be dangerous or something, and I know that this is just going to give me like the best found family trope ever, and that is like my favorite thing to read in a book. There is nothing I love more than when I can connect to the characters and when the characters all connect with each other and just become one big family. I know so many people that have read this book and have loved it, and I do definitely think it's something that would be up my alley. If you've read this book, definitely convince me to pick it up. I know I really want to, but sometimes I put books on my TBR and then don't actually get to them. But if you've read this and you've loved it, please convince me, because I just feel like I'm going to love this. Like I just get that gut feeling, and I can just really imagine myself sitting on the beach reading this. I don't know why. Next up is a book that I actually bought recently because it is a recent release, I believe, and that is The Wedding People by Alison Espart. Hope I'm saying that correctly. I've been seeing everyone and their mother rave about this book. I've been seeing everyone read this book. I feel like I'm the only person that hasn't read this at this point, and so I knew I had to go out and buy it, even though I am trying to stop adding to my TBR. I just knew that this one was like an exception. It says at the back, Phoebe Stone arrives at a grand beach house hotel in Rhode Island wearing her best dress and least comfortable shoes. Immediately she is mistaken for one of the wedding people, but she's actually the only guest at the Cornwall Inn who isn't here for the big event. Ooh, okay, that's a very interesting storyline. I literally had not read the back or had any idea what this was about, by the way. I just bought it because everyone else was talking about it. It says, when the bride discovers her elaborate destination wedding could be ruined by a divorced and depressed stranger, she is furious. Lila has spent months accounting for every detail and every possible disaster except for Phoebe. That actually sounds so good. That is not what I was expecting out of this at all. I don't even think this is like a romance. Obviously it's kind of like a general fiction, maybe like a lit fic. I don't exactly know what this is, to be completely honest. I'm actually going to Google what the genre of this is right now, because I feel like that didn't really give me much, but it made me really excited to read it. Yeah, it's like a contemporary fiction or like a women's fiction. I had no idea about that, but that makes me all the more excited to read this, honestly. I'm definitely going to pick this one up very soon because I feel like I just am getting FOMO from everyone else reading this book, and I just again get the feeling I'm really going to love this, so I definitely want to pick it up as soon as possible. Next one I have is Summer Island by Kristin Hannah. This is another one that I've bought quite recently because I just kept seeing it everywhere, and I will say that I love Kristin Hannah's writing. Even though I've only read one book from her, I feel like I got a good sense of her writing and how beautiful it is, and that was In the Nightingale, which is a heartbreaking book. So I'm excited to read a different book from her. This looks more like a romance book. Again, Again, I didn't actually read the back. I just looked at the cover, loved the cover, and then bought it. We all know that everyone judges books by the cover, even though we're technically not supposed to. Nora Bridge walked out on her marriage and left her daughters behind. She has since become a famous radio talk show host and newspaper columnist, beloved for her moral advice, while her youngest daughter Ruby is a struggling comedian who uses her famous mother as fuel for her bitter, cynical humor. When the tabloids unearth a scandalous secret from Nora's past, their estrangement suddenly becomes dramatic. After Nora is injured in an accident, a glossy magazine offers Ruby a fortune to write a tell-all about her mother, and Ruby returns home under the pretext of taking care of the woman she hasn't spoken to for almost a decade. Again, I've mistaken this for a romance book, and it's not even a romance book. This is very clearly a general fiction sort of book as well, which I should have known with Kristen Hanna. I feel like this is definitely going to be very emotional. I'm hoping for a good ending out of this one between the mother and daughter. I feel like that would be really sweet. I feel like that would be a lot of character development, which is something else that I also love in a lot of books. But it does say that they go to Summer Island, so this definitely is going to give me massive summer vibes. Like, I can really imagine myself sitting on the beach reading this. I just cannot believe that I've been wrong about the genre of 2 books in a row. Hopefully I'm right about the rest of them. This next one is actually a sequel to The Summer of Broken Rules by K.L. Walther, and it is called What Happens After Midnight. I don't know if it's a complete follow-on from the first book. I think it might be a different storyline with maybe some of the same characters, but I really enjoyed that first book. It was following a family. I think there was like a destination wedding or something, and they decided to team up and play like a massive game of assassin, and there was like a little romance in there as well between one of the young girls and one of the young boys from the other family. So it was just very sweet and wholesome, very like family orientated as well, which I loved. So I definitely wanted to read this straight away, but then it's been like 2 years and I haven't gotten to it. But this one, just reading a little bit of the back of the book, I'm not going to read the whole thing again. It says that it's following Lily, who is in high school, and there is an anonymous senior class jester who is executing an end of year prank at the high school. And I feel like I've read a book with that sort of dynamic before, and it is really interesting because there is usually something that goes completely wrong. Even though I personally hated my high school years with an absolute passion, I feel like it is still really fun to go back into these books where they are in high school because they always seem to have a better experience than I did. So definitely very excited to read this one as well. The next one looks a little random because this actually doesn't look like a summary book, but I remember I spoke about it in another video a couple of months ago saying I wanted to read it in the colder seasons, and someone pointed out that it's actually more of a summary read, and that is The Cinnamon Bun Bookstore by Laurie Gilmore. This is the second book in the Little Pumpkin Spiced Cafe series. I did listen to that one as an audiobook at some point towards the start of this year, I think, and I really enjoyed it. It was really sweet, very easy to get through. I really liked her writing, and so I'm definitely excited to continue this series. I feel like the covers of these books are also just so adorable. Like, having these on my bookshelves, it just makes me really happy to look at them. Again, I feel like it doesn't really make that much sense because it's like Cinnamon Bun Bookstore. There is like autumn leaves all over the cover. Don't really know how it can be set in summer, but hopefully that person was correct in that assumption. Regardless, I am excited to continue this series. It does not matter if it's not set in summer, it's still giving me that sort of vibe. I feel like you can really read any cutesy little romance over the summertime because usually they are set over a longer period anyway, and so I'm definitely still very excited to get to this one. The next 2 books I have are actually from the same author. I've had these ones on my TBR for a while as well, like since they came out, and for some reason, even though I've read another book from this author, I have not read these ones, but that is Meet Me at the Lake and This Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune. I read Every Summer After a few years ago. I believe that was like a friends to lovers romance. I'm not entirely sure, but I do know that I really loved that book and loved her writing. I remember everyone was like very hit or miss on that book, like people either loved it or hated it, but I was in the boat that loved that book, and so I don't know why I haven't continued with more books from her. It's literally perfect too because I feel like Meet Me at the Lake is giving me the biggest like spring sort of vibes, and then This Summer Will Be Different is giving me summer vibes, so I feel like I can read one in each season. I don't know at the top of my head, but I also know that she has released another book this year. I'll put it on the screen because I literally cannot remember for the life of me, but that book looks really cute and summery as well, so if I get through both of these and love both of these, I will probably be buying that one as well. I just feel like her covers are literally so pretty as well, like they just give the best summer vibes. I feel like if a book cover literally has the beach on it, it means I have to read it at the beach. Okay, I've only got 2 books to go. I didn't want to add too many to the TBR and then overwhelm myself and not actually get to all of these. I'm really hoping I get to most of these this year, but the next one is You with a View by Jessica Joyce. This one sounds really sweet and wholesome. I have read the back, but I'll read it to you you guys as well. It says, Noelle Shepherd is grieving the loss of her beloved grandmother when she discovers decades-old photos and letters that hint to a forbidden love in Graham's past. Needing to know the full story, she creates a TikTok video appealing for information and it goes viral. That part makes me cringe a little bit because there is nothing I hate more than social media in a book, but I do feel like a romance book can get away with it if it's done well, so hopefully that's not too cringy when I read it. But it says, through her video, she manages to track down her grandmother's secret love, Paul, who offers to take her on the honeymoon road trip he and Graham planned but never got to go on. Noelle jumps at the chance to make this one last connection with her grandmother. There's just one problem. Paul's grandson is Noelle's frustratingly handsome high school rival, Theo, and Theo has come too. Like, tell me that is not the best dynamic ever. Like, I feel like it's going to be very plot driven, this book, but then there's going to be like a little sprinkle of romance, which I feel like is one of my favorite things. I'm hoping that it's not like too centered around the romance in this book, honestly. Like, I really want to know more about her grandma's relationship in the past. Like, I feel like that is just something I've never read before. It sounds very unique. And I've also actually never read a Jessica Joyce book before, so I'm very excited for this moment for that reason. I'm just like really hoping the social media part isn't too cringy, because the fact there's even a phone on the front is a little deterring. Now, the last book I have is more of a general fiction as well. I don't know why I haven't got to this. I think I'm just scared of like sort of the idea of this book, but that is Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is following a famous tennis star, I believe, and that's why I've been scared to pick this book up, because I do not know anything about tennis. But I also read Atmosphere a couple of months ago and fell in love with it. It's my top read of the year and I knew nothing about space. Even while I was reading, I was like, wait, what is that? Like, they're talking about like spaceships and I don't really know what's going on, but I'm just loving this story and these characters so much because her books are very character driven. And so I feel like reading that and not really having an idea of the actual kind of general idea of the book, it convinced me that I need to pick this one up sooner. So obviously we are following Carrie in this book, who is a famous tennis player, and it says 6 years after her retirement, she decides to make the decision to come back out of retirement and be coached by her father for one last year in an attempt to reclaim her record, because I think someone bet her record in tennis. I'm definitely very nervous for this one because I want to love it. I'm just scared about the tennis thing because tennis is something that I've just never cared about. I've never watched it. I don't think I ever would watch it either. So it's definitely a little nerve-wracking, but with Taylor Jenkins Reid, I feel like most of the time she really surprises me and I do end up loving her books. I literally read another book from her last week called After I Do, and it was like a second chance romance between a husband and wife who wanted to get divorced. I was terrified to read that and I actually ended up really loving it just because of Taylor Jenkins Reid's writing and the way that she creates characters. So I feel like I should have higher hopes for this, but definitely convince me to read it if you have read it and loved it, because I definitely need that little bit of an extra push to actually pick this up. But that was the last book that I want to read this spring/summertime. If you have read literally any of these books, please let me know. Let me know your thoughts on them. Let me know your favorite summer books of all time if I have not mentioned them either, because there's definitely a chance that I'm going to go and buy more summery books. I actually realized that I don't really have that many sort of like summery themed romance books left on my TBR, so I definitely think that I might go and buy some, but we'll see. Depends on like your recommendations as well. But as usual, if you got to the end of the video, comment the butterfly emoji. You already know the drill. I'm not gonna ramble on, so thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel if you would like to see more content from me. But with all of that being said, I hope to see you all in my next one.